Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the February member forum. We're glad you've joined us today. My name is Kristi Park and I'm the director of the Texas Digital Library, and I'm joined by a couple of our staff members, Courtney Mumma, our deputy director, and DeForest, our communications manager, as well as a few of our members who are going to share some announcements during our 30 minutes together today. A couple of reminders as we start. If you have questions at any point, please feel free to use the chat window to ask those. And as I mentioned, we are recording this, so you'll be able to access it on the TDL YouTube channel later on. Looking at our agenda, I'm going to start with some updates on our member survey, TCDL, and a self-assessment that we've been working on based on resources provided by Spark and Core. And then we'll have some service and projects updates on Vireo 4, the Digital Preservation Services User Group, Research Data Management Services, and some projects that a couple of students from the School of Information at UT Austin are doing for us. And then we'll wrap things up with some updates from the community and Q&A. Okay, so before I jump in, I just want to call your attention briefly to the Files pod in the lower left-hand corner of your screen in Adobe Connect, where you can download the slides from today's presentation if you would like to. There's also a file there called TDL Annual Report 2019. This is our annual report for last year that we sent out earlier this month, and we hope you'll download that and read it. If you haven't already, it's been sent out by email as well. But it's a great synopsis of the great work that we have done collectively, both as TDL staff and as a community, that involves all of you and all of our members. So we hope that you'll celebrate with us that work by looking at the report and sharing it with anyone who's interested. So I also want to thank everybody who took time to respond to our member survey. We had 18 of our 24 members who provided responses, and we are analyzing the data, and we'll share a report later this spring. So thanks to all of you for the work that you did in coordinating and providing responses. We're really looking forward to digging into this data. I also want to thank everybody who submitted a proposal to this year's TCDL. We received nearly 80 proposals, and our committee chair and co-chair, Marcia McIntosh and Shelley Barba, will be traveling to Austin later this week, to help us select proposals for inclusion in the program. So we'll announce the final program by spring break. It's all shaping up to be another great TCDL. I also want to remind everyone about the TDL Awards and encourage you to nominate yourself or a colleague for one of these awards. It's a way to broaden our outreach and build our community among academic libraries and cultural heritage institutions across Texas, and we want for every institution to participate. We've extended the deadline for these submissions to Monday, February 24th, so next Monday. You can learn more and nominate someone by following the link on the slide. Okay, and finally for me, before I hand it over to Courtney, I want to talk to you a little bit about a self-assessment that we've been undertaking based on a resource shown here on the slide, provided or developed by SPARC, the Scholarly Publishing and Academic Resources Coalition, in partnership with CORE, which is the Confederation of Open Access Repositories. Last year, they shared this resource called Good Practice Principles for Scholarly Communication Services. And I'll tell you a little bit about it and how we've been using it. Both of these organizations have been tracking the trend of concentration of control of research communication infrastructure, consolidating in the hands of a small number of players whose objectives don't necessarily align with the interests of the open access community. And so Spark and Core published a joint statement related to this issue and pledged to collaborate together and with others on actions to help set a strong foundation of ensuring that research communication services and infrastructure are better aligned with the aims and values of the research community. So they developed these 7 good practice principles for the community to consider when they're thinking about who their service providers are or how they're providing scholarly communication services. The aim of these principles was to provide a framework to ensure that services are transparent, open, and that they support the aims and values of the scholarly community. So the principles listed here, you can see, are good governance, open standards, fair data collection, transparent pricing and contracts, easy migration, succession planning, and open content. We felt like when these principles came out that this was a good opportunity for us to do some self-assessment and some self-reflection as we think about our services that we provide to our members around scholarly communications. And as a provider of these services embedded in the academic community, we feel like we at least strive to live up to each one of these principles and do so successfully in many cases. But we wanted to, and did over the second half of last year, really dig in at the staff level with each of these principles and think about the ways that we live up to these principles and some of the ways that we could improve in the way we approach these things. We use the principles to assess our own service offerings, our own governance structures and operations, and we want to share these findings with you all. I think they're in a place right now where we want to ask you to take a look at our assessment and provide comments. So we have what we've done in a Google Doc. It's linked to here on the screen. And we'd like to ask you as our members and friends to take a few minutes to review our conclusions and add your comments and questions and suggestions. The deadline for comment will be April 1st, and we'll review your feedback and publish a final report on our website this summer. And I want to emphasize that these principles represent a starting point for discussion, and we plan to revisit this rubric to assess our work over time. And I will tell you, just at this point, this was a really useful exercise for us to think about where we really need to focus some attention on improving our services. So we hope that you'll work with us and help us focus our attention by giving this some of your attention. If anybody has questions or comments, please don't hesitate to contact me or leave your comments in the document. So with that, I'm going to hand things off to Courtney to talk about clone service and project updates.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Kristi. I only have a couple of updates today, and then I'm going to hand off for one of our guest speakers. So first off, I wanted to give you an update about Vireo 4 migrations. We just completed a sprint led by our developer, Frank Smutniak, towards a better migration version based on some issues that we saw come up with our few pilots. And so we will be reaching out to Vireo users to schedule summer migrations very soon. And the goal is to have all migrations from TDL Vireo users by September 1st. So you'll be hearing from me within the next few weeks if you use Vireo in your institution, and we'll be trying to get you onto a schedule for that migration. Very exciting times moving to Vireo 4. Next, I wanted to let you all know that the Texas Digital Library's Digital Preservation Services user group has decided to open up to all TDL members on a quarterly basis. So the next open meeting that we're going to have is going to be at 1 p.m. on April 7th. So go ahead and mark your calendars, but I'll also be sending out an email to the digital preservation list, which if you're not already on it, let me know and I'll add you, TDL-digipres@UT-list. You can just reach out to me directly and I will put you on that list if you're not there already, or you can add yourself if you know how to do that. So we're excited about that. We want to have a larger conversation around digital preservation in Texas, not based specifically on the users of the services, but with everybody in Texas. So now I'm going to hand things off to our guest, John Watts from Texas A&M, who's going to talk with you about a project the Texas Data Repository Steering Committee is doing towards potential Carpentries membership in Texas.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Courtney. My name is John Watts. I'm the Director for Research Data Management Services at Texas A&M University, and I'm here today on behalf of the Texas Data Repository Steering Committee. And the Texas Digital Library and the Texas Data Repository Steering Committee are exploring options for consortial membership to the Carpentries. The Carpentries are a community of instructors, trainers, maintainers, helpers, and supporters who share a mission to teach foundational, computational, and data science skills to researchers. Data Carpentry, or the Carpentries rather, aim to teach fundamental concepts, skills, tools for working more effectively with data, with an emphasis on open access data and open source tools. The Carpentries teach hands-on workshops in data organization, management, and analysis to increase data literacy and improve research efficiency across the globe. And they've really done, in such a short time, created a real community of practice internationally. And TDL and the TDR Steering Committee see a real need in our consortium for to address these gaps in these areas for our members. And as members of the Carpentries, this membership would provide access to a Carpentries instructor training, as well as the ability to hold Carpentries workshops led by certified Carpentries instructors from across the United States here in Texas. So Diana Morganti at Texas State University and I put together a needs assessment survey for a Carpentries membership pilot that we are proposing, and we will be sending this out to TDL members soon via our listserv. The questions that we would like to address in this survey are who is already using Data Carpentry or the Carpentries, and what does this look like? What % of TDL members think there is a need for this type of pilot? Who wishes to participate in the pilot from our membership, and what is the best way to fund this project? So keep an eye out for this survey, and it will be hitting your inboxes soon. And I just also want to give a shout out to Jessica Treligan of UT Libraries for spearheading this project, as well as Diana for putting this survey together. And I think we can also, I'll also put a link to the survey in the chat. I think it's also, it's linked here on this slide, as well as more information about the Carpentries. I'm happy to take questions at the end if you have any. But now I'll hand this off to Leah to talk about TDL's Capstone project.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. This is Leah DeForest. I'm the Communications Manager with Texas Digital Library. This spring, TDL has the privilege of working with 2 UT School of Information students on some really exciting projects. So on the left of the slide, you'll see Elizabeth Buchanan. She's developing a comprehensive digitization survey that will involve surveying all TDL member institutions about their hidden collections and digitization needs. She's going to work up a survey of digitization labs in Texas with the goal to create a picture of their service capacity, focus, fees, along with any special digitization equipment they may own. She's going to work on developing an online directory of community-vetted vendors and public sector imaging partners, and help us identify some funding sources such as grants to assist with these digitization projects. And I just want to say I'm really grateful to our imaging group for their assistance and guidance on Elizabeth's project. They've already helped out a ton. On the right of your screen you'll see Jonathan Yusefnia. He's leading a directory project that will allow TDL members, as well as archivists and library DevOps and other librarians from across Texas, to discover potential partners for collaboration and advice. Jonathan's project will kick off this week, probably actually look for an email later today, with a survey to capture the skills of our Texas colleagues. He's then going to take that data to create a searchable database, which will then link to TDL.org. So all of us at TDL are really grateful to Elizabeth and Jonathan for their enthusiastic commitment to our members and our membership. We envision these projects as being a building block towards improving collaboration among our members and partners of our consortium, and I hope you will take a minute to participate in their surveys in the coming weeks. And now we're going to move into some community updates, and I'm going to start with introducing something new that we're calling collaboration services. And these are promotional and outreach services that are exclusive member benefits. So since we depend on active participation of members like you to be successful, we want to return the favor. And if you have an idea for a webinar or story, maybe you're attending a conference on behalf of TDL, or you would like for TDL to help you sponsor and promote an event, just please take advantage of our free collaboration service. We've outlined like what you can expect from these services and also what we might ask of you. You can send us ideas, stories, events, other calls to action that may be of interest to the library and archives community. We've created a form, we call it our call for content form, and I've linked it on this slide. And if you submit this form, someone from our outreach team will get back to you, and we'll start getting to work on coordinating the best way to promote your work. And I just want to invite all TDL members to take advantage of this benefit so we can help you promote your work and with any professional development that you might need in that regard. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to email me. This is brand new, and so I'd really like to know what you think about this. And now I'm going to introduce Tori Brown from UT Libraries.
Thanks, Leah. Hi, everybody. I'm Tori Brown. I'm a software developer analyst with the UT Libraries, and I'm a co-chair of the South Central States Fedora Users Group that we lovingly call SCSFUG. So last month in January, I coordinated a SCSFUG meeting with fellow TDL members at the University of Houston. We hosted Fedora users from the University of Houston Libraries, UT Libraries, Texas A&M University Libraries, as well as DeForest. And we heard presentations from all of our members that were there, as well as presentations from Islandora for Islandora 8, Hyrax, Samvera, and Haiku. So our next SCSFUG meeting will be held at Texas A&M, and we'll be chatting with everybody, a part of the community, in the fall to gather interest for the winter meeting, which will be in 2021. Also, I've been working with David Wilcox, who is part of DeForest, just to gather more Fedora users that are in our area, just to reach out to them and raise awareness that we do have SCSFUG and see if we can get some more people involved in that. If you're interested in getting more involved in SCSFUG, we have a Slack channel as well as an email group. And during the planning, so this fall, we'll be doing a form, and during that, and when you fill out the form, there's a section for you to input feedback on what you'd like to hear about, what you're interested in, and also if you're interested in presenting, you can post that there. So we're planning on our next meeting for winter 2021, but that will depend on interest from everybody in the community. And now I'll hand things off to Shannon Willis of UNT. Thanks, Tori. So this is Shannon Willis. I'm the Digital Projects Lab Manager at the University of North Texas Libraries. And the new TDL Imaging Group is having our first annual meetup. This two-day meeting will consist of facilitated roundtable discussions, tips and tricks informational sessions, and digitization lab tours. The event is completely free to attend, and lunch will be provided on day one of the meeting thanks to funding from the University of Houston and the University of North Texas. We have had kind of an amazing response so far to this event, and we are reaching our capacity for it. As of yesterday, there was only one spot left on each of the studio tours scheduled for day 2, but more people are still welcome to come to the first day of sessions at the University of Houston. Our community pulls from libraries, museums, and archives and welcomes anyone interested in working towards tackling the challenges of cultural heritage imaging with us. The event is for all those interested in digital imaging, no matter what level you're at or what institution you come from. It is taking place on Monday, March 9th and Tuesday, March 10th in Houston. Day 1 will consist of discussions and a lab tour at the University of Houston, and day 2 is studio tours at the Menil and Museum of Fine Arts, Houston. This event is intended for non-commercial practitioners. We just ask that you register and take our pre-event survey. More information about the event, as well as links to registration and the pre-event survey, can be found by following the link on the slide to our website. And now I will hand things back to Leah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon and Tori, for those updates. A couple of reminders here. I want to remind you to submit your proposals to 2 conferences. On the left, you'll see the USETDA conference CFP deadline. That's in Ohio this year, and the deadline for the CFP looks like March 16th. And then on the right, our members at Texas Women's University recently published their call for proposals for the Cross Timbers Library Collaborative Conference. And the CTLC CFP deadline is April 17th. Another reminder, our next Topics in Research Data Management webinar is tomorrow, February 20th at 11 a.m. This will be, the topic will be Make Data Count with Daniela Lowenberg. She's the Research Data Specialist and Product Manager at California's Digital Library. We will have 2 more webinars following tomorrow's webinar as part of this series, including a Data Curation Network Primer in March and a webinar with Sebastian Karcher of the Qualitative Data Repository in February. These webinars are free, open to anyone. We just ask that you register so we can keep you in the loop. Another reminder of an OER opportunity. Sorry, that was a bad one. I really tried to make that work and it doesn't work. Anyway, OER Opportunities. We still have some seats available for next month's Open Textbook Network workshop, which is hosted by UT San Antonio. Even if you've already registered, we'd like you to consider bringing your OER team to the workshop. That team could include faculty, bookstore colleagues, or fellow librarians, anyone who's going to help you get your OER initiative off the ground. Registration is free for this event. Lunch will be provided. Please email me if you have any questions, but do try to register soon because that is coming up. Also, I want to ask you to consider applying to serve as an OER ambassador with TDL. Ambassadors will get to attend the Open Textbook Network Summer Institute for free. An application is required, so please follow the link on the slide to apply. And again, email me if you have any questions about the ambassadors or the workshop. And I think that's it for me. So thanks, everyone, and back to you, Kristi.
Awesome. I love hearing about all the great work that's going on in the community, and appreciate Tori and Shannon and John for joining us and talking about what are really some grassroots community efforts going on within the membership and extending beyond the TDL membership. All of these things are just really exciting, and we're excited to support them. We have a couple minutes left for questions, so if you have questions, please take a second to enter those in the chat window. We'll be happy to answer them. They could be questions for us at TDL or any of our guests, John, Shannon, or Tori, about what they talked about. Joseph asked what's the record for TCDL proposals. Leah, you may have that info. I think last year we had slightly higher than this year. I think the conflict with SSA this year hurt us just a little bit, but we did have a great turnout for proposals.
Yeah,
Leah,
that's
do you know
right.
what the record is?
I don't have the number memorized, but Alex might too. But I think last year we had closer to 90, so only a handful more, and we were really relieved to see that many come in, considering our overlap with SSA.
Yeah. So Santi, you asked about the kind of reporting out from our site visits, and have we shared that information, and are we going to, or what is there a timeline for doing so? So that's a great question. We have shared some kind of preliminary conclusions from those site visits at our last governing board meeting in the fall, and I believe those resources should be available in the TDL repository in the board folder. Leah can confirm that or correct me, but if not, we can certainly share that. We haven't released any kind of formal report on it, but we definitely intend to, and I would say that we're kind of looking at our notes and conclusions about those meetings alongside some of the analysis that we're doing with the member survey, and want to kind of look at those in conjunction or report on them together. So we will be putting those results together in time for our board meeting this spring. So at the outside, we're talking about probably May. We will have a session at TCDL this year, probably a breakfast session to share out with our members and anyone else who wants to attend what TDL has been up to this year. And so we'll be talking about them there, if not sooner. Yep, that was a long-winded answer. Any other questions? Okay. Great. Well, we'll give you 2 minutes back then. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We'll be doing this again at the usual time next month. And in the meantime, hope you have great work wherever you are. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.